If you're ready for some new info about Season 3 of Star Wars Rebels, I've got a little bit of new info for Season 3 of Star Wars Rebels. This past weekend at Salt Lake Comic-Con, Lucasfilm Story Group creative executive Pablo Hidalgo did a panel where he previewed a whole bunch of Rebels Season 3, as well as a little bit of Q&A from people in the audience. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video with not much in-depth info, but more so just the general ideas that were shared at this panel and little things that we can sort of look for going ahead into Season 3, with one of the first things that was stressed that Sabine is apparently going to have a much larger and much more central role with everything in Season 3. Also, I don't really want to rain on anybody's parade, but when asked about it, Pablo kind of came right out and said that there's not really any kind of romantic relationship between Sabine and Ezra Bridger. We were told that in Kanan's journey to become more attuned with the Force, he encounters a being unlike anything we've seen before called the Bendu, which refers to itself as the one in the middle. Basically, the idea is that the Force has been around much longer than the Jedi and the Sith, and that other creatures throughout time and in other places of the galaxy have sort of tapped into the Force in their own kind of ways. At least that was the impression I got from what we were told, and that this creature might be kind of that type of creature. But before you get too excited with the idea that this could sort of lay the framework for an eventual Grey Jedi, in a separate panel throughout the weekend, the entire idea of the Grey Jedi was more or less shot down, unfortunately. We also know when Season 3 of Rebels is going to take place, and it happens approximately 6 months after the end of the events of Season 2, which is 2 years before the events of Episode 4, A New Hope. We have that outright confirmed, which is pretty cool to sort of know where this all fits in within the timeline. Then, of course, one of the biggest lingering questions we have from the end of Season 2 is what has happened to Ahsoka? Is she alive? Is she dead? What is the story there? And in regards to that, the direct quote from Pablo was, "That story's not over yet." Me, I still think she is dead, but her Force ghost has gone into the Sith Temple on Malachor to learn the secrets of the dark side and maybe eventually help good overcome evil by using sort of their own knowledge against them. And lastly is a thing that's maybe the most intriguing aspect of that entire discussion of Rebels from this whole panel, and that was a question from somebody in the audience asking if we would see any crossover between Rebels and Rogue One given how close they are within the time period of the events unfolding in the galaxy, to which Pablo Hidalgo replied more or less that there are people who are currently working on both projects who want to see it happen, but didn't really give a descriptive answer as to yes or no whether or not that would be the case, but it seemed like he was very much hinting at it. Anyway, I hope that between a couple character updates, a little bit of info on the actual timeline, and hinting toward a possible crossover, that this little bit of news was worth your time. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. I always appreciate that. If you have any thoughts on this whole thing, or if you were also at that panel, please hit up the comments below. But above all else, everybody, thanks so much for watching.